One.
Here's the story. Donny the Mad Dragon, who had my mother off by his side. They were four friends, certain that he obnoxious, but full of dragon's pride.
It's the story of the great Jesse Godfrey, with Big Go and Mr. Rob. Never Jesse's crow, so fierce and passionate, and the red V shine true. Till the one day when
Donny met young Jesse,
and they
there was much more than a hunt. That this group was full of fiery podcast. That's how we come from the dragon's butt. That dragon's butt. That dragon's butt. That's the way we became the Mad Dragon's butt. Come on, Dragons fans! Fire up!
Well, g'day Dragons fans and welcome to the Mad Dragons podcast, brought to you by Complete Warehouse Solutions, a family-owned and operated business with more than 100 years of combined experience. Jeff and his team are more than pleased to assist in your Sydney warehouse refurbishment or fit-out project. Based on Commerce Drive in Lake Illawarra, get in touch with the team on 42571930. Now, I know that this is a review show of the Dragons game against the Warriors, and there's a lot of things that people want to speak about with regard to this game, but I want to use my intro tonight to wish the great Jack Clifton well. For those of you that don't know, Jack runs another Dragons podcast called the Red V Podcast. It's a shit tin better than the trash you're going to see tonight. He's an actual professional that probably wouldn't use the phrase shit tin. And he's done a remarkable job for a long period of time, and I'm certainly going to miss his podcast. I want to wish Jack and his family all the best, and hopefully he still has some involvement in creating content about the club, because he's very good at what he does. And on that note, we'll hand over to Hasman for Heroes and Villains.
There ain't nothing but heroes and villains, more villains than heroes. What can you tell? What from the next? Can you go down from zero? There ain't nothing but heroes and villains, more villains than heroes. All lined up from the east to the west, black hat born or an infinite chest.
Yes, thanks, Donny, and welcome back, mate. Good to see you again. I think both Jesse and myself are somewhat relieved that you're back after the last few weeks. So
You're looking fresh there, Hasman.
Nice cut.
You're looking fresh, mate.
Thanks, boys.
Look at you.
All right, we've got someone who's at Billy. I think we might need to add him into proceedings as well. Right, let's get into it. Now, I knocked this out.
I
knocked this out about 10 minutes ago, so forgive me if it's not quite as polished as normal. So, Heroes and Villains, round 10. Do the locomotion, I've called it, for reasons that I'll explain. Surely now the Kyle Flanagan experiment is over. The so-called dominant half still unable to do a damn thing other than bomb and hope. The same game plan as under Hunt, but with Hunt from Timu doing the kicking. Add to that his complete inability to see the players around him who would have scored 100% and go himself and get tackled, which admittedly Clint Gutherson did as well. Now, on the bright side, we did see the emergence of an absolute weapon in Loco Pacifici Tonga with 12 metres for 110 runs, 18 tackles with no misses, and more importantly, 49 post-contact metres, in stark contrast to our so-called big signing in David Clemmer, who did absolutely fuck all, and Luciano Leilua, who should never start a game in the Red V again. Why the hell you'd start him just because it's a milestone game is completely beyond me. I'm starting to think that Shane Flanagan is not a coach's bootlace, and the fact that he keeps comparing players to his Cronulla side from 2016 really makes me think he doesn't have a clue what he's doing. Leaving Sloan on when he's quite clearly injured is just A-grade level stupid. And bringing Clemmer and Cook back on with the game in the balance just shows an absolute ineptitude beyond even Anthony Griffin. So think for a moment about the absolute level of stupidity that we're discussing here, okay? Now, the young guys like Egan, Stewart, and Jacob Little, even though he's not particularly that young, are killing it, while so-called big-name recruits like Clemmer, Gutherson, and Holmes are consistently putting up not very much. Loco Tonga should absolutely keep his spot, and Flanagan should lose his. Bringing Glover, I don't give a shit. Just someone who has more than one attacking play. The hero is Loco Tonga for showing us what our forward should be doing, and the villain is Flanagan Sr. for being the absolute worst coach that we've had since Paul McGregor. Back to you, Donny.
Wow. You've given new meaning to the phrase "talking head," because that's about all we could see was just.
He set the tone. He set the tone for the show.
Well, you've basically covered off on a few things that we're going to cover off on, but we don't need to ask Hasman anymore in terms of what his opinion is, because he's given it to us there loud and clear. That's a big, strong message. I don't know that I agree with everything that you've said there, but I certainly agree with the sentiment, and I feel the frustration is something that a lot of Dragons fans feel. So let's introduce the rest of the panel. So we do have, of course, Hasman there, Big T. Oh, Jesus, there we go.
Yeah, that's a good one. We'll be talking about that later. We'll be talking about that later. But it'll pop up. It'll pop up every now and then.
Jesus, it's like the it's like the dick pic in what is it? Just flashes on the screen every now and then.
It will be. Don't worry.
So we got Big T, Hasman. We've got Benny, who might be coughing and spluttering his way through the show. It's fantastic that he's been able to join us when he's not feeling the best. And Jesse hiding down in the bottom right-hand corner there as well. So we'll go into Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year. We'll start with a bit of positivity because I don't think it's going to be all positive. Let's get into the Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year voting. This will be the last time we're actually going to reveal the votes before we head behind closed doors. In my absence, Hasman did a job that the Dragons would be proud of. With and what I mean by that, with the collation of votes, he did it in a half-assed way, and there was plenty missing. So thanks, Hasman. The man of the match, though, for this game was Dylan Egan. We've had 10 of the 11 members give me their votes, but Dylan Egan is on top at the moment as the man of the match, according to the panel. There were 2 of the 10 that have given me their votes that had Eagle with top honours. It was very tight with a lot of players worth mentioning, but the 2 went to Jaden Sewer and 1 to Jack DeBellin. So despite the Pigs getting a fair amount of criticism, our panel has 3 of them as our best 3 players from that match. So moving into some moments of the match, you're on the Mad Dragons podcast, brought to you by Complete Warehouse Solutions. And I'll start with you, Big T. Loco Tonga had Willie Talal present his debut jersey. Talk us through some of your favourite moments in the week, the videos, the memories from Loco's family in the lead up.
Yeah, it was a great talk from Loco's mum. Told him how they take him into football. He used to love the game. And then Willie Talau handing him the jersey. was a special moment. I think Talau had a tear in his eye actually because he's brought him through the reserve grade and he's playing first grade now. I thought he was a little light on when I first looked at him in the game, but I watched it again the second time, and I thought he did pretty well. He was only on 30 minutes and 13 hit-ups, 30 metres, 18 tackles. So that's not bad for 30 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, no, did a good job.
More minutes than he was actually supposed to, pretty much because of the injury to Toby Couchman. But
that's right.
Look, I would have either left him on for longer or absolutely, put him back on after maybe a 10-minute rest. He was absolutely killing it.
He was. He wasn't quite coming off the back fence like I thought he would. He was sort of more flat-footed when he got the ball, but he made the meters, made the post-contact meters. He did well, I thought.
We'll talk a little bit more. We'll come back to his performance a little bit later on, but talk about the lead up here. But next question, I go to you, Benny. Two birds with one stone, really, with this question. Luciano Leilua plays game number 150, and he's also promoted to the starting lineup. Do you think, as has been sort of suggested, do you think that his milestone had a bearing on the decision for him to start?
Oh, yeah, I'd say it definitely did. Good achievement for him. He's been around and he's done the hard yards. So well done to him. But yeah, starting him may not have been the right decision. But either way, it's been done now. But yeah, he's such a. It's just one of those rocks and diamonds sort of players as well. Like I thought he tried really hard last night. Yeah, he made a lot of errors, but at least he was trying stuff. He was having a go. He was a real handful when he was running. It took 3-4 people to get him down. He broke the line nearly every time he ran.
He made 5 line breaks, Benny.
Yeah, I know. I thought he played pretty well. Like a lot of people are giving him shit, because he dropped a few balls or pushed a few passes, but at least he was trying to create stuff. He was doing the work that Flanagan should have been doing. But yeah, I think we'll see different. But I thought he played an all right game. I think if even 2 or 3 of the things that he tried came off, we would have won that game. You would have set a couple of tries up. But he's like that. You'll either get him on a real good day and everything will work and he'll be an absolute superstar, or he'll push stuff just that little bit too hard and it won't come off and everyone will be putting shit on him. But yeah, unfortunately, he's just one of those players. But congrats to Luke for 150, mate. I'm behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you make some good points there, Benny. And if some of the things come off, he's a hero. If not, he's a villain. Unfortunately, I think he came off a bit as the villain with adding to a worrying trend for the Dragons is their lack of completions. The fact that they haven't been able to complete sets throughout the season, and it puts them under a lot of pressure.
He's pretty much been taking Lomax's role on. He's just Lomax pushing those flick passes and throwing balls out over the sideline, like he was trying to create stuff. That's the sort of player that Lomax was, like he always pushed 110%, but they don't always come off. And I think Luciano's sort of taken that role on. I guarantee that our edge forwards and our outside backs, they would be feeling a lot of pressure because our halves just aren't stepping up, and giving them good opportunities to create points. So they're probably pushing stuff that they shouldn't be necessarily pushing, but what choice do they have? Someone's got to create stuff. So
yeah, when you got halves that have got no creativity at all, then you're right. It does fall to somebody else to be the person that's got to try and make something from nothing. And I think Luciano's certainly going to come in for some criticism because of the fact that he came up with a few errors. For me, it's that defence on the edge that concerns me as much as the errors. I think he's just a bit too slow at covering that space on the inside. That gives me as many concerns as the errors that he's making. But again, we will come back to that when we talk about the Warriors' first try. But for now, Jesse, world champion Alex Volkanovski, UFC champion, delivered the game ball. This is an honour normally reserved for former players. Do you like a high-profile fan like Volkanovski getting the chance to do this, or do you think it's something that should be kept to the legends of the club?
I didn't mind it. I mean, he copped a good reception when he walked onto the ground to present the ball. He hung around for photos with fans as well. Club even presented him with a jersey. So it's good to see a sporting hero like him, like a Illawarra local. Actually played rugby league before he went into UFC. So I don't mind it. Like there might be more of it, but yeah. Generally now and again, I wouldn't mind seeing like an Illawarra sporting hero or someone from our local area, but most of the time, I would prefer it to be legends. Yeah.
No, I think it's good, mate. So if they're bringing in some high profile fans to deliver the game ball, then the Mad Dragon might just put his hand up and
Big T lives closer.
Happy to help out, Yeah.
So would I.
Whatever I've got to do.
Ryan Webb, you're available, aren't you, Donny? Ryan Webb can fly you over.
Well, he won't be around too much longer, Webby. But
so we're going from world champions to West Coast champions. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. Why not? Legends in their own lunchbox, mate. That's what we're after.
I like that.
Aren't you converting to the Bears? That's what I heard. There's a rumor going around.
I don't know where you're hearing these rumors, mate, but I don't think that's going to happen.
We should make him sign a contract. He needs to sign a contract.
Yeah. Should we give him
a loyalty contract?
Yeah.
We don't want to see no Donny's bear cave.
I think there's a few Dragons fans who'd be quite happy to be rid of me. But,
no, Donny, you're under contract in the Mad Dragons podcast, and we're not going to let you out of it.
Yeah, infinite. No chance. It's your vodcast.
On the new Ben Hunt, I've just got to kick stones for a couple of years until the contract's up.
Think about this. If you leave, it's going to be in the hands of me and Jesse. Think about that.
I don't think anybody wants that either. No.
Are you sure you want that?
No, nobody wants that.
No, we don't want that, do we, Hasman?
Jesse and I don't bloody want it.
All right, well, let's get into the actual game itself. The first half felt a bit like Groundhog Day. The Warriors forwards easily able to march upfield. We kept making mistakes, had no ball, no territory, and Metcalf was putting little stamps of his class on the game as we fell behind 14-0. Circling back to Luciano Leilua, the first try to the Warriors was Leilua making a mistake and then turning the shoulders in to give Metcalf space to score. Should we continue to put up with the Rocks and Diamonds performances of Luciano, or is it time to look at some of our other options and send him back to reserve grade?
Look, I mean, if we're not prepared to put up with Rocks and Diamonds, we'd have to sack half the bloody team.
Should we sack half the bloody team then?
Well,
might not be bad.
I mean, we need to do something because we're seeing the same shit week in, week out. Sometimes it's just the names that change that, making these sort of errors and doing this stupid shit the way that, Leilua did. I mean, I know it's not going to happen, but, what about, dropping Flanagan and bringing in Glover?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a completely different question that's later on. We do have that one in there, but
just an example.
Gutho handed over more ball than Luciano did.
Exactly. Gutho had the same amount of errors as Luciano.
Gutho was how we can bring in Clemmer. Answer me that.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's a reasonable question, but who do you bring in for Clemmer? Like, we've already brought up all the young front rowers. We've got Blake Laurie, we've got Harmate Sele, we've got Michael Molo. They're the only other options left, mate. Like, who are we bringing up to replace Clemmer with? Who are we replacing him with?
How did Harmate Sele go today?
He went all right.
Yeah,
it's only his second game back. He's a month away from even being considered, but he went pretty well.
But he's another fringe first grader anyway. He's not a
You
know what I mean? Like, this is a problem. Like, we just don't have the stock. coming through. Like we've got young guys, but they're green. You know, they're going to take a while to develop. But then you got guys like Hame that should have all the experience under the world and be a solid first grade choice. But he's a fringe first grader, so they don't really have a lot of options.
Benny, do you think Flanagan should just bite the bullet and bring all the young blokes up like Canberra did last year, and look at them go this year?
I don't think so. I don't think. Yeah,
the Tigers did the same thing.
Just a question.
The Tigers did the same thing. I think the Tigers did it more.
They got pumped tonight, didn't they? Whoa!
Absolutely.
Absolutely kicked.
Happy did it on his own.
Yeah.
Wow.
How did we beat Melbourne and lose to those Muppets? Answer me that.
Yeah.
Funny game.
Don't know, mate. We beat the Melbourne Storm and lost to the Tigers. That's rugby league in 2025 for you. Ian Johnson says give Halangahu a run. Jesse, I know this is something that you've said you'd like to see as well.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Our older forwards haven't done enough to warrant to keep their spots in the side. So why not try new blood? As Big T said, look at the Raiders. Like they've got a young backline there and some exciting players coming through. We have the same. Why not give them experience so they'll be better for the run in the coming years? Because it's really an uphill battle now to play semi-finals. But I think give some more young players some first grade because the more experienced players and the guys we have brought in just haven't been good enough.
Jeez, I wish I'd said that.
Well, I know who Donny we're tipping for a Luciano replacement.
Well, that's exactly what I was just about to say, mate. You can steal my thunder. You can give us the name.
No, mate, you do it, mate. You do it. Get him to the Greek.
That's it.
The Greek are
Nick Sagranis is probably the next thing to go in.
Sagradis is a good footballer, you know. He's got that mongrel in him that I really like. But he's a workhorse sort of player, so you'd probably get a lot more consistency out of him than you would like out of Luciano. But Luciano is going to create those sort of crazy, out there opportunities that Sagradis might not. But Sagradis is a workhorse, that's for sure. He's a really good young footballer.
Yeah, Sagradis was good again. He was the best on the field for me today in New South Wales Cup. Had another sensational game, and I think him on the bench gives us options because he's a guy that can play in the middle. Played under 19 State of Origin as a front rower off the bench for New South Wales, so he can play middle. He's normally a second rower, so edge forward, the same as Luciano, and he's been playing in the centres the last few weeks. So he's a guy that is going to cover the outside backs a little bit better than Damien Cook does. So I think he gives us that versatility in a few different options. So I think he'd be a good one worth considering. I don't know whether I'd necessarily be dropping Luciano Leilua. I think coming off the bench, he can come on and have an impact. He can change the course of a game when he is on. He's a very creative player. And I actually had him in my 3-2-1s last week. Not this week. I thought he had an ordinary game this week, but it just didn't come off for him. I think he should keep his spot for now, but I think Nick Sagranis, Jacob Halangahu, we've got a few options there, some guys that have got him under a little bit of pressure. Is Nick Sagranis eligible for NRL? Yes, he is. He's got the same contract that Laikan King Togia does. He's eligible for NRL, and pretty much everyone is, because it's after round 11 now, so all the train and trial players are now available as well. So there's pretty much anybody that pulls on a Dragons jersey in lower grades is now eligible to play NRL. So that's the same reason why we are able to talk about Jacob Halangahu, who doesn't have a development contract. He's got a train and trial contract, but from round 11, he is also a possibility to be picked under my understanding of the rules. He got 10 in the bin today, says Ian Johnson. Yes, he did. That was a bullshit call. I don't know if you watched the game, man, but it was right towards the end. The Newtown Jets kicked through. It was shoulder to shoulder. They were running towards the ball, and the other guy fell over, and Sagranis got put in the sin bin for a professional foul. It was an absolute bullshit call. But he deserved an early shower anyway. He'd had a blinder.
They worked too hard.
All right, where are we up to? Who are we up to? We'll go to Big T, back to the top of the list. The second Warriors try was a little kick that Sloan came forward to, and he lost the aerial battle. But I want to talk about Moses Sully's role in his play. He didn't effectively block for Sloan, which meant that he lost the aerial battle, and then did not react at all as the ball went backwards, got to Tuapiki for the try. Sully seems to score or set up tries so infrequently for a centre.
Yeah.
Do we need to look at a different role for Sully? And is there other options for us in the centre that could do a better job?
Oh, he was just standing there like a statue, looking up at the ball with his back to the attack. And he's just standing there. And they get the ball and they pass it out, and he goes, oh, and then goes out and tries to make the tackle. He wasn't even in the game. He wasn't even in the same field. That's what he was. But, yeah, if we've got someone else to bring in, I think Sully needs a rest. I think, he needs to go back and play Reggie's. But, he just did. He just wasn't there, was he?
No, it was just a complete. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what he was.
No, never do I. Yeah,
he just sort of stood there, and he was a spectator.
If he had pockets, he'd have hand in them. His hands would be in his pockets. If he had pockets.
Horrible.
Who comes in for him at this point, though?
Oh,
that's a very good question.
We're running out of depth in the backs, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, Jesse, you mentioned Nathan Lawson as the option for him. He's been playing on the wing. He's played a couple of games in the centres. But do you think Nathan Lawson would be the best option to replace him in the centres? Or, again, you're looking at someone like Nick Sagranis, who played in the centres today, Hayden Buchanan. Either of those guys an option?
Nathan Lawson's probably the next in the pecking order, but we've got we're getting hit hard in the back in terms of injuries. Like we don't have Christian Torpolotta, we don't have Matt Fine. You said Sione Finau went down today, so Nathan Lawson's probably the next off the list. I'd say, but
he's probably next by default.
Mm.
I mean, who the hell else is there?
Yep. Well, Tyrell Sloan didn't look good as well last night.
What about moving Allen into the centres and Lawson under the wing out there, just to give him some experience?
Well, we might have to.
Yeah, I know. What do we look at? We have got depth there. We have got some sort of depth, but are they first graders?
Yeah, well, again, there's generally only one way to find that out.
Exactly right. Yeah.
You can watch as much New South Wales Cup as you want, but when you watch New South Wales Cup and our front rowers, our middles are absolutely dominating the team that's coming third in the Newtown Jets. You look at who those middles are, and it's Michael Molo and Harley Fella, and go, well, those guys, they're not dominating anything at NRL level. Like, it's completely different. You
got to look at Billy Burns up until his last game. Billy Burns, he couldn't make great to first grade, but his last game today, what a game did he play, Donny? How did he go?
Yeah, 2 try assists, didn't he?
Good on him. He had a good game.
Well, commentators gave him 3 try assists, so I don't know. I haven't checked the stats. They said he had 3 try assists in a row.
I just said
the NRL app says 2, so
yeah. Well,
that's crap.
Yeah, he had a good game.
Anyway, move along.
How did we let him go? Honestly, how did we let Dick Fingers leave?
I'm with you, mate. I told you he'd be like Menzies one day. Look at him today.
I still remember him dropping a ball as well, and that's the only thing Dragons fans would remember if he was wearing the red and white.
That's it.
Okay, Benny, just before half time, Val Holmes runs a good line to get interest from Capewell and DWZ before popping it to Gutho. Given we've been pretty well dominated, did you get any confidence from the margin being only 10 points at the break?
Yes and no. Like, I think that was a bit of a nothing try, Like, it was sort of like we were definitely getting dominated. There was just way too many errors in our game and too much stuff that didn't come off. Like, I don't really think we look confident at all in that game. And like we were talking earlier, I don't think that the Warriors played that well. Like, I think we just played absolute rubbish. So yeah, it didn't really give me a lot of confidence. I definitely got more confidence in the second half that we were going to sort of run them down and get it back. But too many stupid last tackle options and silly decisions from key playmakers, and we just couldn't ice it, which has been part of the theme for the whole season, to be honest. But yeah, it was a good little try, but I don't know, like it's hard, we're not really giving Val any easy kicks either. Everyone's sort of ripping up Val that he's the reason that we lost the game. 2 points obviously would have made a massive difference, but we're not giving him any easy kicks either. So it's sort of, yeah, I think Gutho probably could have run that ball in a bit closer.
He was kicking fucking 80% last year, and now I think he's below 60, maybe even below 50.
Yeah, the red field.
The bloody field goal that he missed, he had all the time in the fucking world.
No, I don't know how he missed that.
Yeah, he was right in front.
He's known for slotting too. Like, he can slot a field goal, that bloke. But
He's got a boot on him.
I think what the red V does is it seems to suck all your confidence away because he just doesn't look confident when he got the ball in his hand.
As well.
But when he it's not the talent, because he's still got the talent that doesn't disappear. But he got the ball and straight away he just didn't look like he wanted to kick it.
Yeah.
He's unsure of himself. He's second guessing himself, and I see that with so many of our players that they're just not. They don't have the confidence in themselves to be able to take the game on and play the way that they know they can.
But that also comes from,
again, maybe that comes back to the coach again, Benny.
That, and you can see they don't have confidence in the players inside and outside them as well, and that's why a lot of those lapses in defence, like you were talking about, with Luciano and Lycan having to sort of cover him, and you know what I mean. Like, you see it all the time, and like, we're so soft in the middle where we shouldn't be. But that's because the players have got no confidence in the blokes next to them to make the tackle. So there's miscommunication, like the miscommunication between Corey Allen and Gutho when Corey dropped that kick. Like, that was Gutho's ball, and then last minute Gutho pulls out, and Corey's got to run 30 metres to try and catch a bloody thing on a lean, and he drops it, and he's the worst bloke in the world. But where's Gutho standing up at that moment saying that's my ball? Just these things that the players.
Well, that was the same. That was the same last week with that little kick that went through, and Gutho sort of stood there, and Sloan just stood there, and no one wanted to take the fucking ball.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. They got no confidence in their outside players or the players around them. And is that coaching? Is that culture? Is that something to do with the playing group itself? I don't know. What do you boys think?
We've got an interesting comment there from Everything NRL, just trolling the panel, I think. Yeah, Ben Hunt would have iced that moment. I don't know whether you watched Ben Hunt's fucking 7 years at the club. He barely ever iced shit. Like, the amount of close games we lost when Ben Hunt was at the club is higher than what it has been so far this year. Like, he was not a guy that iced big moments. He was a flat track bully that played well when things were going well. So fuck Ben Hunt.
He couldn't ice a He could not ice a bourbon and coke, that guy.
Yeah. All right. Where am I up to? Here we go. Jesse. We looked a different team in the second half. Suddenly they were playing with energy. We found line speed. Here we go again. Did you get any context around that at all? No, just
later.
just a little bit random.
This is going to be great for the podcast where there's no vision, but we'll have to tell anybody who's listening on the podcast to come and check us out on YouTube and Facebook and vision, so you know what the fuck we're laughing about. In any case, Jesse looked like a different team in the second half. Suddenly, we were playing with energy. We had line speed that we haven't seen from the team all year. It looked like they wanted to win. Why do you think it took until the halftime speech for the team to look interested?
Honestly, I don't know. Flanagan must have fired a rocket at them at halftime. because the way the proceedings were going, if the Warriors continued the way they were, they would have blown us off the park. But good. That it was probably one of our better performances all year in the second half, like probably arguably our best. But yeah, they looked really motivated and looked really good to go. And yeah, they could really should have nearly won the game in the end. Just a couple of key moments let them down, as we already touched on. But getting players like Jacob Little on and Loco Tonga really changed the momentum of the game, and we were starting to get on the front foot, and we were clawing our way back into the game as well, getting players like, as I said, Little, Loco on. We got Dylan Egan into the game as well, which injected some energy and enthusiasm into the side.
Yeah, no, it's a good point you raised. I think there was quite a few of those players that came on, and I thought that the period of time that we dominated the Warriors, we were actually right on top. Was that period of time that Loco Tonga was on the field. Now, I'm not saying it was all because of him, but it seemed kind of coincidental that during that period of the game was when we actually started to get on top of them and dominate them physically, got right up in their face, and there was that additional energy that came into the game, and we went really well. Our man of the match got the next try with Dylan Egan running off a beautiful little short ball for DeBellin, and it all opened up pretty easily for us. What did you think of Eagles' performance overall?
Oh, I think he's got a spot for as long as he wants it.
Starting spot.
I'd start him every week.
Yeah.
I love what I'm seeing from the Eagle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think he's Jackson Ford 2.0, except better.
Funny you say that, Hasman. Did you know Hamish Stewart and Jackson Ford are cousins?
We already said that
in the game last night.
I said that last week. I said that when we were doing Hamish Stewart, what we're talking about, he's going to play this year. I said that back then, mate. I'm miles ahead of him. I'm better than Scoop.
You're better than Scoop. That's not hard.
Better than Scoop. I don't know if that's a brag. I don't know if that's a brag or a diss. I think what Benny's got to say is also very important. So, Benny?
I was just saying everybody's cousins in Gerringong. It's a pretty
He's probably around the Sims family too.
Yeah, that's it.
I just heard that whisper, and it kind of got drowned out by everybody else talking over the top of you, Benny. So I was like, no, we've got to hear that. That's good.
Yeah, that's good too. I'll do for one line.
All right. In terms of Dylan Egan, I agree with Hasman and everybody else. I think that I think what Shane Flanagan is doing, and I know everybody's really impatient and they want to get all these young kids, just throw them all in now, just track them all in and see what happens. But I think what Shane Flanagan does is he holds them back until they're ready. Because we could have done that with Dylan Egan last year. We could have chucked him into first grade. He wasn't ready. He needed 12 months in reserve grade. He played every game in the reserve grade comp. He was the leading tackler for the entire New South Wales Cup competition. He went really well, but he needed that time to develop. And when he came into the top grade side, he came in when he was ready. And the coach and the coaching staff, they knew that he was ready to go into the top grade, and he's come in and he's done a good job from the get-go. And we've seen it with other. Well, we've seen it with other Dragons coaches, though, that they'll chuck in the juniors before they're ready. You look back to when Tyrell Sloan first came into the side, or Junior Amone, Jaden Sullivan even, when they came into the side, they look like deers in headlights. Like they really, really struggled, and it set their development back because I don't think Tyrell Sloan's got anywhere near what his potential was because he was thrown in too early. And
weren't they come straight from SG ball? They didn't because that was a COVID year. They had no reserve grade in those years.
Yeah, they had 2 years off footy pretty much.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I think Shane Flanagan, as impatient as we are, and as much as we want to see more of the young kids because they're all doing so well, I think you've got to leave it up to a coach that sees them day in, day out to determine when it is that they're ready. And, when they do come in, I think it's better to put them in a little bit late than a little bit early. Because you put them in a bit early, it can really destroy them.
They're all playing with confidence, Hamish, the Eagle, Loco, he didn't take a backward step at all when he was on the floor.
He was impressive.
But how was that hit from Egan on, was it Zelezniak when he made that break down the sideline?
Oh,
that was an amazing tackle.
How good was that hit? But that's the sort of confidence that he has, to just fucking whack him. And, like Sloan wouldn't have made that tackle.
No.
But that's some of the stuff that I think that I love about Dylan Egan. It's the fact that he was the one that's chasing TW said, like he's a winger flying down the sideline, and whenever a team makes a break, you see Dylan Egan is the one that's putting in 110% to try and run them down. Yeah. He doesn't always get them like he did on that occasion, but that's those little 1%ers that he does all of them to 120%. He gives everything he's got to give.
That's what you want to see.
100%.
Yeah, you do.
We need our senior players to stand up and have that enthusiasm and confidence.
Yep, and show that leadership.
Yeah.
All right, big team. I think like King Togia, he's going only fairly, but there are signs of his class, and the try to level the game was a sign of this class. And he dug deep into the line, dropped a neat little short kick through for Corey Allen, whose hands let him down a few times, but they were sensational on this occasion. Do you think LKT has secured his spot in the halves in the last fortnight, or does he need to have more involvement?
I think he needs more involvement, but that try, it went from a long ball from Jack de Bellin out to Kyle Flanagan, who passed it off to Lachlan King Tonga, who put that little dab in, and Allen's hands were good enough, even though he made 3 mistakes in the game, but his hands were good enough to pick it up and score the try. He does need more involvement just to bring his skills out. He's got to build confidence. Maybe that might have built a bit of confidence, that little dinky kick. Built some confidence. He's got to build confidence. That's what he's got to do. So he's got to get his hands on the ball more.
Yeah, I think I've watched like King Togia come up through the grades, and I've watched a fair bit of him. That's kind of the way that he plays. Is he does play that second fiddle role really well. Yeah. Where there's a dominant half like a Cade Reed next to him, and the halfback is, and even in reserve grade it was Jonah Glover was the dominant half that controlled everything, and he sort of plays that second fiddle role. But what he does is so silky smooth. He does that bit where he digs into the line, where he can run, pass, he can kick. He's got all of those skills. He's got all of those elements, and he injects himself into the game really well. And I think that's just the style of player that he is. He's a genuine 6. He's an old-fashioned 5'8", despite the fact he's wearing the 7 on his back. That's just the way that he plays. And I really enjoy watching him behind the class 7. Yeah, and I think that's a very good point, Benny. I think he's going to be, if he does ever get the opportunity of the Dragons to play with a quality number 7, we're going to see him shine even more. But at the moment, we don't have that. And we're still seeing glimpses of it in the 2 games that he's played so far this year.
Yeah, he's had some great moments.
Ilias is not going too bad in Reggie's, is he?
Ilias,
he's picked up 2 games. The 2 games he's been down there, they've won big.
Yeah, he had a shocking second half today.
Okay.
He in the second half came up with a couple of errors and a couple of forward passes and did a few things that had me shaking my head. But both the halves were only average. I thought in the first game, Ilias was slightly better than Glover. In this game, I thought Glover was a fair bit better than Ilias. Again, we'll talk a bit more about the halves in a minute because we've got what I've labelled an honesty session about the halves a little bit later on. So we'll get everyone fired up for that. Benny, let's keep it a little bit positive rather than talking about the halves. We've talked a little bit about him already. Locko Tonga's debut We talked about the lead up, the week leading up to it, but talk us through his performance. How do you think he went?
I think he went really well. I think he definitely did his job, probably over and above. You know, you look at him in comparison to, I know that Hasman made the comparison to Clemmer, you know, and how much more work Locko did, you know, like. But I think that's what we want out of someone like Locko. You know, we want him to just get out there, work his ass off. Yeah, like he's still young. He's still got so much to learn. So I think he'll take a lot of confidence out of his performance, and I'm sure Flanagan and the other coaching staff will give him big raps on what he did. Obviously, he got thrown in early due to the injury to Couchman, and I think he handled it really well. You know, like Flanagan obviously has, well, most coaches have a plan of when they're going to make interchanges. So, you know, Locko probably wasn't prepared to go on as early as he did. He sort of got thrown in there. So, yeah, but good on him. He stepped up, and he's a beast. He's a beast of a player. What I really liked about him was his intensity. You know, like even when he was in a marker, his marker work, you know, he was chasing hard. He was really active in marker. He was really active off the ball. He just did everything that he needed to do. No errors. He was putting himself in good opportunities and positions to take hit-ups and do work. So, yeah, he didn't go missing at all. So I think it was a really, really good performance. Keen to see more of him.
Yeah, no, I thought it was sensational. He did his job. I said all week to not expect too much from him, and I think there's always a danger when you've got a player like Locko who's been built up. So there's been a lot of fans talking about him since November last year, even further back than that. He's got a lot of press. He's a big guy, and sometimes when a big guy comes in for his debut, there's just outrageous expectations, and I think we needed to temper them a little bit. I said if he comes in, he makes, plays 20 minutes, has 5 or 6 runs for 60, 65 metres, makes 10 to 15 tackles without a missed tackle, without an error, then that'll be a really good performance. He basically doubled all those figures. So all those figures that I said that I was going to be happy with, he doubled them. So
in only 10 minutes more. So
yeah,
he worked really hard.
You should have heard the crowd reaction when they announced his name in the team lineup and when he got on there. The crowd were absolutely erupted. It was good to see.
They should have erupted more because all I heard was Warriors chants in the crowd.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yes, they were not far from me.
That's all I heard on the radio. On the TV was Warriors chants.
Yeah, we've got a viewer question about that a little bit later on, Big T, and we might talk to Jesse and Benny who were at the game when we get to that bit. But Jess, a lot more people are starting to come around to where I was at the start of the season, and that is that Jacob Little should be our starting number 9. Do you think it's time for Cook to step back into a lesser role to allow Little bigger minutes?
Yes, I 100% agree. Cook is probably past his best now. And we didn't really need another hooker. Jacob Little was probably in the top 5 or 6 hookers in the game last year, the way he played. And he really sparked us when he came out into the game last night. And he's been doing that every time he's come off the bench, 90% of the time this year. And he's very crafty at the dummy half. Cook doesn't have that anymore. He's lost that speed, I think, and Little was very creative, and he was a real reason we got back into the game. So I think 100%. I had Jacob Little as my starting hooker before a ball was kicked this year, and I still stick by that. We don't want to lose a player like Jacob Little. I mean, if Damien Cook still stays as the 9 potentially in the next couple of years while he has a contract, it could potentially force Little out the door, and we don't want that. And I do like Jacob, a very, very underrated player.
Yeah. A comment from Gary.
Who's doing that?
It's Big T, mate. Big T's doing that.
I'm sorry. No,
you're bloody not.
I'm like a laugh. What can I say?
No, Where was I? You make me lose.
Jacob
my
Little.
every time.
Jacob Little.
Jacob Little.
No, there's the comment on the screen from Gary McGregor, about Cook to lock. I mean, Cook has been playing a bit of lock. He's been, he starts at 9, Little comes on, Cook comes back on as a lock later on in the game, generally speaking. Do you think Cook to lock is a fair shout from Gary McGregor, or do you think that that's not something that's working at the moment?
Well, I probably wouldn't have it. Like I'd have him as a 14 if I'd have him there at all. So the problem is that Little, we've seen Little play 80 minutes before, and it has sort of blunted his effectiveness a bit. So, I think we do need a 14, which I think Cook should probably fill that role. But no, I don't see him as a lock at all.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's something that we've been doing already, and I don't think it's worked. I think Cook has been coming on and playing lock, playing as that ball playing lock, and I don't think it's been very effective at all. I don't think it has helped.
I don't think Cook's been effective, period.
Yeah, he has moments, but it's sporadic. It's few and far between. His running game isn't quite what it used to be.
Total Sloan's had moments.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
I think we're seeing why Bennett moved him on.
And screw you, Hasman, for having a good point, because I don't like agreeing with you. All right. Big T. I don't know whether I want to involve you with the ditching me out, but it's hard to know exactly where to place this in the chat, but we've kind of mentioned it a couple of times about Val Holmes. I think we have to talk about it at some point. A noted sharpshooter, but again, we have a game where we score more tries than our opposition, but lose the game. Is it unreasonable for fans to have expected Val to kick at least one of those sideline conversions?
Well, the one where Egan scored, was it Egan's try that he missed? The second one he missed. Anyway,
It was Allen.
one of those kisses, one of those tries he scored was in a fairly easy position, and he's hooked the ball around the left-hand post, and yeah, look, we've had so many close games this year. Three games by 1 point, one game by 6 points, but we'll talk about that later, I'm sure. But something needs to be done.
Yeah,
training, coaching, bring Graham Arnold back. I don't know.
Again, I don't know whether it's a confidence thing or what the deal was. Listening to the commentators, there wasn't a lot of breeze there yesterday, was there, Benny?
Has his legs set right?
No, I don't know why he missed. No breeze, not strong breeze anyway. I don't know why he's missing it, mate.
That sock was blowing a fair bit.
It wasn't.
But it wasn't gusty. Like it was a pretty solid sort of mild breeze. Nothing that an 80% kicker shouldn't be able to handle.
It was cold.
This is a problem.
Blowy wind. No.
He should be kicking a lot better than he is. And I think Donny hit the nail on the head. It's a confidence thing. Like we saw Lomax. Lomax was 22 in a row or whatever it was. And then he missed. And then I think he missed like for the next bloody 6 months, like it's a tough gig, goal kicking, it really is. It's so much pressure riding on the players, but Val should be kicking better than he is.
Yeah.
I think
Guffo scored. Like he didn't allow. He just went straight for it. He didn't try and curve it in. Like he didn't allow for anything like to curve. It was just a shank. It was never looked like getting it. The one he tried to get the Guffo conversion just before half time. It wasn't a good strike at all.
Good to see Chris Holmes' daughter was amused by a limp sock. But I think we tie
at Win Stadium, Donny.
It is. I think we tie in that field goal attempt there as well. Benny, he had all the time in the world and shanked it. Had another chance from outside 40 where instead he decided to shit grubber straight to the field, which was a better option. I mean, I don't know how many more ways we can say it, but I mean, what is the issue? How do we fix Val Holmes, and do we need a second option as a field goal kicker?
Well, yeah, this is the thing. Like he should be nailing them. You know, like he can do it. He's done it before. He's got a really good record for slotting those sort of opportunities. But like you said, like he's at a confidence thing. You know, like he even after he's tried that first field goal, just the way he turned around and just sort of sauntered off after it, like it was like it was never going to go in. You know, like he wasn't willing it to go in. Like I think Reynolds kicked one a couple of weeks back, and you know he turned around and walked off before it even went through. He was that confident that he got it. I don't know if it was Reynolds. I can't remember who it was, but anyway. But he's just not. He's not kicking with that confidence, you know. Like, and there was no pressure on him. He had all the time in the world to line it up. He was in a great position, and he just missed it. You know, like he shouldn't be missing those sort of opportunities. Lomax would have nailed that kick.
Yeah, 100%.
Jared Takiri's got the solution. No, score closer to the post.
That's easier said than done.
No, just fucking do it, Jesse. Don't. All right, Jets. We talk about Val having all the time in the world for his field goal attempts, but Metcalf also had no pressure on his attempt. This isn't the first time we've allowed a team to basically have field goal practice under no pressure to our detriment. Is it a complete lack of match awareness? Is it fatigue? Is it something else? Why? No pressure?
I don't know. We've seen it happening in 2 games earlier this season as well. Metcalf just had all the time in the world. I saw David Clemmer run up, but it was way too late. He had all the time in the world. And at 14-all, the Dragons should have been thinking, the Warriors will take a field goal at some point soon. They should have been preparing for that at 14-all.
They should have known it was coming. Stevie Wonder could have seen that was coming.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah,
Stevie Wonder was in the bunker, I think.
I think he was
on the field.
I think he was on the field.
Liam Kennedy.
Mr. Kennedy.
Okay. All right. Well, Hasman, something I feel like I talk about every week is our completion rate. Once again, it's another game where we completed in the mid 70% range. I think it was 73% for this game. While the Warriors completed at 92%. How can we expect to win if we just keep making mistakes? And why isn't this improving?
Why is it improving? I'm not entirely sure. I'd be tempted to say it's a coaching thing. I mean, holding on to the ball is a basic sort of thing of football. It's you learn that in under sevens how to fucking wrap the ball up in attack, and how to not sort of make that sort of. I mean, they're all basic errors. So very basic, and we just keep bloody doing it. Then the heads go down. All of a sudden, one error leads to 2, leads to 3, leads to 4. And all of a sudden we've had bloody 3 tries put on us.
Yeah,
they need to get back to basics.
Yeah. We certainly have a frustrating side to follow, that's for sure, says Chris Holmes. And I think that doesn't even start to scratch the surface.
That's putting it very, very mildly.
Yeah. Yep. The other stat, Big T, is that I'm trying to get my head around how we improve in this area is kick defusal. It's another one we struggle in every week. There's only one game this year where our kick defusal has been better than our opposition. There were some shocking moments in this game from Corey Allen and Clint Gutherson in particular. Are other teams just better at putting us under pressure with their kicking games, or are our back 3 just not as good as they need to be?
If you noticed, you have a look at the average meters made per set, we're making 48, 49 metres. Other teams are making 60 and 70 metres from their so they're kicking from a much closer position than we do. So if they're kicking from over the halfway on our side of the halfway and they put the ball up high, their players have got more chance of getting them there than us kicking the ball from our 40 to the other end. So they're putting the pressure on because they're making more metres per set than we are. If you go back and have a look at that, it's a huge difference.
Funny
Yeah,
you say
I think
that.
on the NRL side, it's about 37 to 42 metres per set or something.
Yeah. But against Manly, even though we won the game, they made a whopping, I think it was 65 metres per set. And we still beat them, but anyway. But yeah, I think they had we had 48, they had 67 or something. So we've got to do something about that as well.
Yeah.
Well, funny you say that. Harris Tavita and Metcalf, their kicks last night, they were just putting up those spiralling bombs and they were just floating them in the air.
Where were they kicking them from, Jess? Inside our half.
Yeah, and they were both kicking very well, and we had trouble with their kicks all night. We couldn't float them like they did, and
Yeah, but
make them spiral.
our line speed has been rubbish too.
That's
we're,
right,
we're not getting in their faces and putting pressure on the kicker. Like their kickers look at the field goal all the time in the world to kick that.
Well,
And-
are you allowed to put pressure on the kicker in the modern game, Benny? Every time you do, you seem to give away a fucking penalty.
But you know what I thought last night? They probably had at least 3 or 4 opportunities for charge downs and no one went for them.
No.
Yeah.
Like we had places like the markers generally, like there was a few opportunities there where the markers sprinted up. There was even one that the commentary said where Jack DeBellin chased from, I think it was from marker.
Yeah.
He could have actually tackled the guy.
Could have tackled him before he kicked it.
Yeah, like why are we not trying for a charge down or anything like that?
They're scared, mate. They're scared.
Because
There's no urgency or desperation.
the referees and the rules, the NRL have scared players out of it because every time they actually do that, they get penalised.
You can still make you can't attack the legs of the kicker.
No, but if you make a tackle on a player and he gets the ball to his boot, even if you hit him as he kicks it, it seems to be a fucking penalty.
Yeah,
It's a fucking lottery.
But Jack DeBellin could have hit the kicker, same as when Nathan Cleary got hit the other week. Right in between the kick, the ball would have been in the air, wouldn't have got back to his left foot, and they smashed into the ground. Jack DeBellin could have done that easy.
So why are we not trying? Why are we not trying charge downs then?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like,
there's no urgency in our defense, no urgency, desperation. They always wait for the other team to run to them. It's
at all.
Years.
Yeah, exactly. But on the flip side of that too, like Donny was saying, are our back three that bad? On the flip side, we're also not chasing as hard as when we're putting attacking kicks through. We're not chasing as hard. Like there were so many opportunities last night where we put a kick through, and their back three had all the time in the world to make the catch under no pressure at all, and they're running 15, 20 meters from a kick return because the chase wasn't there. And again, coming back to what Big T was saying, it's because we're not kicking from an attacking position. We're not in their half.
Right.
We
don't make meters.
Attacking kicks through. So, we're kicking midfield bombs with a shit chase, and then we're wondering why they're making 20 or 30 meters more than us a set. It's just simple football.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And very, very, very frustrating. Those simple 1%ers that we're just not getting right. All right, into some lower grade stuff. You're on the Mad Dragon podcast, brought to you by Complete Warehouse Solutions. New South Wales Cup team continue to look like premiership contenders with a thumping 34-4 win over the Newtown Jets in the regional Magic round. The Jets were actually above us on the ladder heading into this contest, so it was a very impressive performance. Nick Sagranis has been sensational for his last few weeks in the centres. He gets my man of the match. I think Harmay Stelle set a good platform for the team as well early, while Cody Ramsey was good again in an all-round good team performance. In the Jersey Flegg, got the rare honour, the Jersey Flegg side of playing before their NRL team. They don't get a chance to do that very often. They took on the Sharks, and while they had their chances and fought back well at different stages, the Sharks were a far bigger, a more physical unit, and we went down 30-18 Benny, you were at the game. You saw a bit of this contest from the flag side. What were your thoughts on that?
I think they actually played well. Like I think they were definitely in the contest, but obviously didn't come home with the bickies. But yeah, I think there were some real positive signs in that side. I think a lot of our lower grades are pretty strong. Like I think the next sort of 5-10 years as Dragons fans, we've got a lot to look forward to. It's just whether the coaching staff are going to develop all these players and how many we're going to lose. But yeah, I think the lower grades are really great to watch. So if you get a chance to get along to a game, definitely go and support them. So there's some good footy to be seen, and it was great watching them before the big boys. And like you said, they don't get the chance to sort of shine on that platform very often. So, but it was a good entertaining game. But yeah, it's unfortunate to get the win.
Yeah, especially against the Sharks. I don't know what Cronulla's not that far from St George, but there seems to be something in the water. They've got a lot of big boys in that side.
Yeah.
They just look so much bigger than us physically. So
yeah, I know Cronulla recruit a lot from the Newcastle area. I remember because I grew up in the Cronulla area. So, and there's a lot of feeder clubs up around the sort of Newcastle, Maitland area that send a lot of players down to Cronulla. They've got a real sort of relationship going. So yeah, they get a lot of the big islanders and that coming through their systems. And I know they recruit a bit from New Zealand as well. So, but yeah, they're doing well. They've got a really good junior system in Cronulla. For a relatively small area, they do a good job. So, yeah.
All right. NRLW, there's been a signing during the week, Jesse. Tell us about Nita Maynard.
Yep, so Nita Maynard, she actually retired at the end of last year, but the Dragons had actually talked her out of coming out of retirement, and she signed a 2-year deal. Has played 35 games. Was played in the inaugural season back in 2018 with the Roosters. Has had stints at the Eels, Broncos, and played off the bench in the Knights Premiership win in 2023. Has played 13 tests for New Zealand as well, so we'll bring a lot of experience and depth to our number 9 to the hooking role as well. So it brings a lot of experience to our team and some much needed experience as well with our young side we did have last year. So and that actually completes our squad for 2025, Donny.
Well, Tony Sacosta made I think it was Tony Sacosta made the comment with the Nita Maynard signing that it seems we sign old players past their best in both NRL and NRLW. How would you respond to that?
Well, I saw your response to that too. Like we had a lot of juniors that last year who weren't who are still finding their feet in the top grade, and they needed some more experience, and I think they've brought that in this year. Players like Grace Hamilton, they've brought in Hannah Southwell and now Nita Maynard, which is only going to mentor these young girls and show them what it takes to succeed in the top grade of NRLW.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we'll move now into some viewer questions. And one of the things that got requested during the week, and I've mentioned it earlier in the show, it was a request from Terry Evans to have an honesty session about our halves. I feel like we kind of do this every week, but let's get into it with tonight's panel members. I'll start with you, Hasman. We've kind of already heard your thoughts. What are your thoughts on our halves in general? What should our halves be? What changes should we be looking to make?
Look, it's become very obvious to me that Cole Flanagan is not the answer. Bring someone else in, whether it's Jonah Glover or whoever it is. I don't really give a shit at this point. But Flanagan needs to go back to reserves. It's pretty much that simple. He's absolute fucking rubbish as a half. Play him as a 14 or don't play him at all. He failed his last 2 clubs.
Yeah,
he played in the halves now is completely beyond me.
Big T,
yeah, I thought these two. It has been finished, doing. I thought these two were going to have a standout year. I thought out of the shadow of Ben Hunt, Cole Flanagan was going to shine. Ilias was going to come across from South and show South what they're missing because he missed all of last year there. So they haven't done that. Like and King Tonga's come in and done the similar job to them, maybe up towards Kyle more than Ilias, but we've got to bring a dominant half to the club. We've got to do something. We've got to throw money at someone, bring a dominant half.
We don't have that option this year. So what do we do this year, Big T?
You'd have to give Glover a run as the Warriors commentator called him. Give Glover a run. Glover a run. Yeah, I don't know, mate. You can bring Gutho from fullback, put him into 5'8", maybe. One of the other three at half. Put Sloan back to fullback, and then we'll lose another winger. Oh, mate, we've got a troublesome time ahead.
Yeah. Benny, do you have any solutions, mate?
I think we're stuck with the halves that we've got at the moment. I think Lycan's probably secured the 7/6 spot, whatever he is, for the remainder of the year. I can't see Ilias getting back into first grade. I just, people have been saying that he's been playing really well in reserve grade, but to me, that just highlights the fact that he's not a first grade footballer. He's not up to first grade standard, To go down and have an absolute blinder in first grade, in reserve grade, where's that form in first, A lot of people don't understand the step from Reggie's up to first grade. It's massive. It's so much faster and harder and more technical. And, so there's just some players that can't make that cut, And I think, unfortunately, Ilias is one of them. His time off, his injury, whether it's he just doesn't have the confidence or whatever it is, or he's just too much in his own head that he's going to get hurt again. He's not playing anywhere near the brand of football that we need. Flanagan, I'd like to see get dropped down to reserve grade just to show that Flano Senior can do it. I think it would probably be a big wake-up call to Kyle to get dropped and sent down to Reggie's for a week or two. And the whole reason you send a player from first grade down to Reggie's is for them to work on stuff. That's a platform where they can, get back to basics and just play some simple football without the pressure of first grade. And I think Kyle needs to do that. He needs to go back to Reggie's and really get his game craft in order, because he hasn't been delivering anything near what we need in first grade. And I think the coaches have got to take some blame as well around our halves. They're either not playing to the strength of our halves, or they're trying to push them to do things that are not necessarily at the level of their game. And it's just highlighting massive weaknesses for us. Not to mention, anyone who's played in the halves or been around footy any sort of particular length of time knows that you've got to have the forwards to set the platform for the halves to work. And I think we're getting better in that regard, with guys like Hamish and the Eagle and Loco and those sort of guys coming through, and DeBellin's an absolute workhorse. So I think that the bones are there, and it's just going to take time to develop. But I can't see us making any major changes in the halves. I don't think Lover coming in is really going to be at the Band-Aid that we need. I think Kyle needs to work on his game. I think he needs to work out what his role is, and I don't think it's the football that he's playing at the moment. I think Lycan, he has that brilliance that can, break a game open and create opportunities, but he's got to have the support from Kyle and the opportunities from Kyle to do it. So that's going to take time to work out. But, I don't see us making any major changes at all this year. I think we're just going to have to grind it out. But I hope that Kyle can work on his game a bit, because we definitely need it.
Yeah, Jesse, we talked about what the go is for this year, what we're going to do for this year. But will John Muller asked the question: will Atkinson be the answer? Will they even use him as a half? I think they will use him as a half. But will Atkinson provide the solution that we're looking for next year?
Well, we don't know. Well, we don't know that yet at the moment. He's not playing a lot of minutes at Cronulla. He's mainly been playing off the bench and playing that utility role. So it's hard to judge him off what he did.
Well, none of us know any of the things we talk about on this show. We talk shit, but what's your opinion? Do you think Atkinson will be the answer? Do you think that he will be the solution to our problems in the halves?
I think he's more of an off-the-cuff player, and he's shown he can be an organizer, but he's only shown glimpses of it. He had a lot of time when Hines and Trindle had periods out of the game last year. but he's not playing that role this year. So it's going to be interesting to see how he what role he does play. It looks like he will be in the halves somewhere, but as you mentioned in the chat earlier today, who's going to partner him? Like someone's got to partner him, but there's no one really putting their hand up at the moment. As Benny said, I think Kyle needs a wake up call and get him back to reserve grade. I don't think Lachlan Lewis coming back to first grade's the answer. I'd be looking at investing more time into Enliken, and I'm not too sure how Atkinson will fill in the side. He played most of his football last year as a 6. I'm not sure if he is a number 7 though for us. Yeah,
and I think that's a big thing. I know Mother, who is on the show, he's actually supposed to be on tonight. He's not a big Daniel Atkinson fan. He doesn't understand what all the hype is about with regards to Atkinson. I tend to agree with Mother. I don't think Daniel Atkinson is the saviour at all. I think he's another average half. He's okay. He'll probably be the best half at our club, but that's not saying much because our halves are putrid. I think amongst the worst halves that this club has ever seen certainly in my lifetime. I can't remember a worse halves pairing than what we've had this year with Ilias and Flanagan. In saying that, everybody wants to drop Kyle Flanagan. I don't know whether that's the best thing for us to do. My personal opinion is that right now, Kyle Flanagan is shithouse. He is terrible. He's a dreadful halfback, but he's the best halfback we have at the moment. I do not think I think he's better than Ilias. I think the kicking game for the Dragons over the last fortnight, there's been more. It's been the same type of kicks, but there's been more depth on those bombs. The players haven't been catching them on the 20; they've been catching them on the 10. So there's been more depth on those kicks. So they've been able to. There's been a bit more height. They've been able to get there and put a bit more pressure. I think he's been better than Lachlan Ilias since he's gone into the 7. I think he's better. I think Ilias is better than Glover. But at the same time, you don't know whether a player can step up to that next level until you give him a chance. So maybe I'm wrong about Jonah Glover. Maybe he is, he is that good organising half, and we need to give him a go. But for me, I actually think Kyle Flanagan and Lycan King Togia is our best combination for 2025. The question's going to be in 2026, who partners with Atkinson? If Atkinson's a 6 and Kyle Flanagan's still our best 7, we don't have that organising half. We just don't have it. It doesn't exist. We're waiting for Cade Reed to come through, but I think that's another couple of years away still. He's physically not there. So
he's a good footballer.
I don't know. He's a very good footballer. He's a very crafty 7. He's got all the skills you look for in a number 7.
And very, very immature as far as footy goes.
He's just small, like that Shark side. I know they were big, but it's an under-21 side. They ran straight over the top of him quite a few times. Like, he's brave. He puts his body in front, and he slows them down enough to get a bit of help in there. But in NRL, he's just going to get targeted again and again and again by some of the big boys at NRL level. But he's a guy that I think could be our 7 for the long term. But what do we do in the interim? I don't know. I think it's tough because I think in general we've got the worst halves in the history of this club. You're picking the best dog shit out of the lineup. And I think Kyle Flanagan is the best dog shit in the lineup.
Very slim pickings.
Yeah, there's just not much there. And that probably comes back to what Hasman was talking about. I think it was Hasman or Big T talking about maybe Gutherson or Cook or you're trying to play a player out of position and put them into the halves to
strengthen one position to in a week in another.
Yeah, you're trying to manufacture something that I don't think they're going to make it any better either. But it's you've got to try things because, as Jesse sort of said, our season is pretty close to done. If we're not willing to toss a coin, have a throw at the stumps, just try something, try anything to try and find something that works.
Yeah. I don't think Flanagan's going to do that, but
no.
Yeah, I think Flanagan's got a long-term plan that he's working towards, and he doesn't really give a shit about the week to week.
But we've been stuck in that cycle for years.
Ever since Bennett left.
Coaches are picking players out of form. Maybe because of their name, maybe because of the amount of money they make. Maybe it's something coming from the board. I don't know. We've been doing it all the time. We pick players who aren't playing well, and we've got other players in reserve grade trying to get through.
Yeah. All right, well, that's the honesty session done. I think I'm just depressed. I don't know whether that helped. I didn't find that at all cathartic.
Honestly.
Now I'm just depressed. Anyway, we'll move on to Ed Dickinson's comment. And we'll go to one of the guys who was actually at the game. So I'll go to you with this one, Benny. Ed Dickinson wants to know, where were the Dragons fans? Because all he heard on the TV were Warriors chants.
Mate, it was no different at the game, to be honest. It was the Warriors were loud and they were proud, and they were in front for a better part of the game. So you can understand why they were making noise, but our crowd just go missing, and it's been like that for probably the last 4 or 5 years. I've been a member for the last 5 years, and it's been the same. We're just not loud. We're not confident. We're not chanting. We're not celebrating. We're very, very, very quiet when it comes to the crowd at games, which is it's rubbish. We're actually louder at opposition games, to be honest. I went to the Manly game and we were probably louder there than we are at home. But like a successful football team will bring all the punters out again. They'll get excited and they'll start chanting. And look at the Bulldogs fans. Where were they 3 years ago? Now they're bloody riding every
street of Belmore.
So,
Benny, are we depressed as a fan?
Of course we are.
It's very frustrating.
So when you're depressed as a fan, you're going to be quiet, aren't you? I think we all need therapy.
The team's not playing that well, though, Big T. It's a bit of a chicken and egg type scenario for me. Is it the job of the fan to lift the team?
Yeah.
Or is it the job of the team to, energise the fan base?
I know.
I think the fans have got to try and throw that energy to the
I know you don't like it, but I think the crowd announcer should rev the crowd up. He needs to do something. He needs to get someone going. We need it. I remember years ago when I went to the football at Cogra, I think his name was James Gray. James.
James Gray, not James.
No. Yeah.
Not James Gray.
Who was it?
Jimmy Gray.
No. He had tight curly hair, and he led the army.
Dragon
he
Army.
was the one out.
Well, him.
He was the one out the front, screaming, yelling.
There is no Dragon Army anymore.
I know they still go to the games, but I see them there quite a lot.
Yeah.
I see James there quite a lot, and but yeah, we just haven't got nobody leading the crowd. We need someone to lead the crowd, and that's the only way out of it.
Can get rid of that fuckwit DJ.
Yeah,
that's Ian Johnson's comment right there.
I don't like the DJ.
Every time the chant started, they played music louder than the chant.
Yeah, I hate the DJ.
Yeah, don't like the DJ. We don't need him. That's a waste of money.
You don't need a bloody DJ.
I think we need someone like Donny, someone who's passionate, someone who can lead the crowd. Somebody who can get the crowd pumping
right now.
They got Mick Wayman in there, but he just sounds like a fucking 60-year-old bogan.
Country boy.
Does not work at all. You need someone to actually hype up the crowd.
Mick Wayman and Marty.
It might have been James Young actually. James Young, I think his name was.
Yeah. But yeah, the crowd, they're definitely gone missing. And the DJ, I hate the DJ. It's absolute rubbish.
Bring the cheerleaders back.
All this stupid doof fucking music that no one's remotely interested in.
No.
And yeah,
I've been speaking to a few people today and yesterday about the DJ, and there's been a lot of people that have been messaging me about the DJ. I have not had a single positive comment about the DJ.
No.
Anybody want to jump in the comments and let us know? Do you like the DJ? Please let us know. I want to know if anybody actually likes it. Anybody actually wants it. Nobody I've spoken to, everyone I've spoken to fucking hates it. Thinks it just detracts from the atmosphere. So
Whether
why
watch
would
a
the club
football
continue
game,
with it
not
if
a-
everybody
yeah.
hates it?
Yeah. You know what it is? It's the club trying to be modern and hip, but it actually comes off really cheesy. It comes off cheap and cheesy, and it's just not the image that we should be going for. They're trying to modernize it and bring young people in, but
No.
it's crap. The music he plays is crap. The timing
Yeah.
of when he plays it, like every time there's a break in the play, you get this loud fucking stupid music on. Like I was there with my kids, I couldn't even talk to my kids. Like literally, I couldn't even have a conversation with them when there was a break in play to talk about what was going on in the game because the music's so fucking loud. Like it's just, it's stupid.
Try and record a game day video, Penny. Fucking impossible.
Oh yeah.
The wind didn't help.
I've been pissed off ever since I got rid of the flames, mate. I've been dirty ever since I got rid of the cheerleaders.
Jeffy mentioned that in the group chat as well.
Yeah, then now we've got this stupid hype squad, which is just absolute fucking rubbish.
Jesse just wants more girls to
peanuts
me.
dancing around trying to hype the crowd up. And they're all fucking, like, they don't know football at all. They're just these stupid dancers that they've hired from some fucking stupid local studio. to hype them.
Tell us what you think, Benny.
Fuck. But it looks cheap. It looks cheap and cheesy to a club that's meant to have all this fucking money and are trying to attract people to the game.
With
It
a
just looks
DJ.
cheap and shit. Anyway.
Yeah, Chris Holmes says the ground announcer was a pain in the ass all day. The ground announcer is the great Michael Wayman. I'll let you tell him, Chris.
Yeah, I wouldn't be going.
Again, that's it looks like they've just cut corners. You know what I mean? Like they could have actually got a professional, like an MC, or you know what it's like when you go to a wedding and they've got like their uncle to do the MCing and it's just cheesy.
Yeah.
That's Nick Wayman. Like
It's
he's
normally-
a footballer, he's not a fucking ground announcer. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it looked like they're just taking shortcuts. It was like they had him on staff, he had nothing else to do. They're like, oh fuck, we'll give him a mic.
It's normally the girl from Channel 9 that does the ground announcing there, but she wasn't there yesterday.
She's really good. She's really good.
She is
That's
good.
why Wayman got the job.
But she's professional. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like she's earned her qualifications to do that, and she's really, really good at it. She's
100%.
professional, and she's cheery. She revs the crowd up and gets them into it. But yeah, a lot of the stuff that the club's doing now is really cheesy. Like even like they've got the Queen, like the stomp stomp clap thing going. Like nobody in the crowd even does it. It sounds fucking dumb and shit. They've just brought it in this year. Like, do they even consult any of the fans when they go and make changes at the club level? Like
No.
they mustn't, because none of the crowd are even into it.
You
They
must
put this-
realise the answer is no.
The membership
John
tax
Muller
too.
makes the comparison to T20 cricket. They, in the 2020 they do the same thing, and it annoys me at the cricket too. Like they start playing, different tunes, and the crowd's got to clap at certain points. It's like it's not a fucking dance recital. Like
It's stupid. It really is.
On the back of a kickoff yesterday, they started playing music, and then the guy had to stop it as soon as the play started again. Like, why would they
Michael Wayman
play?
didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, shit.
yeah, again, people that don't know rugby league. Yeah. Anyway, it's
Was the DJ Peter just
it was a big frustration of mine when I went over last year and saw a couple of games. Was just the music at every fucking interval. There was no downtime for an atmosphere to actually develop at the game. Like there was no opportunity for the crowd to start a chant, to start to get into the game, to start yelling and screaming and getting something to echo around the stadium, because every time there was any stoppage in play, there was this blaring music.
How are you going to call the ref a cheap buckwheat if they're playing music all the time?
That's exactly
Exactly.
right, Benny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Anyway,
want to say
well,
shout out to Mark that I met at the game yesterday as well. Good. If you're watching, thanks for watching as well. And actually asked about you, Donny, if you're coming over this side of the country and come over to watch the game as well at some point this year.
well, not to this year, mate. I've been to Japan. I'm going to Darwin twice in the next couple of months, and I've got a wedding for my nephew over there in March. So I probably won't see a game then. I don't know when I'm going to see another Dragons game, to be honest with you. Maybe when the Bears come in 2027 and they come over here. So it might be
There
a
he
little while
is.
before I get an opportunity. Mark Vids, there we go. He's watching.
Thanks, Mark.
He said that he watches and he doesn't comment, but there he is. He's proving that he does watch, and he's now made himself a liar because he does comment. Good on you, mate. All right, we did have a question about State of Origin, but we've been going an hour and a half already, so we might skip that and leave that one to you on Tuesday, Jeff. But forced and unforced changes. No one due back this week other than Ben Murdoch-Masila, who I don't think is going to be considered for the top grade. Hasman, Toby Couchman's shoulder injury, likely to sideline him for a while. So there will be a forced change in the front row. Who comes in to replace TC?
Look, in a perfect world, it'll probably be Murdoch-Masila, but I think we'll see. I think he's pretty much next man up by default. I mean, there's no one left. I mean, Hame Sele is not bloody ready. Even if I wouldn't have him even if he was. And I don't see anyone else knocking down the door. So I think it's blockers to lose.
That's Fatala Mariner as well.
For me, I think it's a straight swap. I think you bring Blake Laurie straight into the team. Fatala Mariner's an edge forward. He's not a middle. We need a middle. We need a middle that can play minutes. We've seen Blake Laurie play 70 minutes in lower grades. He's a guy that can play big minutes. I think it's a straight swap. You bring Blake Laurie straight into the side, and you start him, and you again have Locko and Hamish Locko coming off the bench and trying to punch some holes in them later. Luciano off the bench as well, and I think it's just a straight swap. Blake Laurie comes straight into the side. I think Hame Sele is still a while away, but I'm not the biggest fan of Hame Sele anyway. I think Blake Laurie is a better player than Hame Sele in any case, so I don't have any problems at all with bringing Blocker back into the side. All right, Big T.
Before we move on that note, are any of you boys concerned about the amount of injuries we've got at this point of the season?
Yes.
Yeah, we have a few. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's definitely some teams that have more injuries. South in particular have got a lot more than we do. If we were in that position, I think we'd be screwed. I think there's a few players. You look at a guy like Tom Eisenhuth, who hasn't played barely a second of football all season. I don't know why he's still in our squad. Why don't they just retire him, medically retired? Because it still says to be confirmed. Just get him off the books. He's not going to play. He's busted. I don't know what's going on. There's been no communication from the club in terms of what's happening with him.
All I've heard is concussion.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was concussion. He was out for a couple of months with concussion. He played about 20 minutes in reserve grade and got concussed again with what was a pretty innocuous hit. So back-to-back concussions, he's been struggling with it all season for 6 months just about. And that, to me, screams medical retirement. And it's time for him to look after himself and his family and all that sort of stuff. Thank you very much for your service. But we can medically retire him, get him off our top 30 and give us options if somebody else becomes available, or you want to upgrade a guy like a upgrade Jacob Halangaru early, upgrade a Nick Sagranos or one of these other young players, Jet Liu, who's in the train and trial school. He's been going really well in reserve grade. You might want to upgrade him to a top 30 contract, or upgrade one of the development contract guys and put him in that squad. Like, that gives us options if we get him off the books.
Who decides that, Donny? Is that the NRL? Is it the Dragons medical staff? Is it up to the NRL?
Well, the Dragons medical staff will make a determination, and he'll say that I'm not going to play again, and then I don't know exactly what the process is, but I'd imagine the NRL might have an independent doctor that gets involved and goes, yeah, we agree. But yeah, I'm not sure what the process is, but there's been no effort to try and do that. There's been no communication as to whether the Dragons are trying to do that. That's just one player, but there's a few guys. Ben Murdoch-Masila hasn't played all season either. What are we doing with him in our development squad in the first place if he wasn't going to play a game? Like, he's taking up a spot for a guy that could have come in before round 11. So there's there's just a lot of things that the club haven't done well. And Benny, you mentioned it when we were talking about the game day experience. Everything feels like amateur hour at the club.
There's a lot of mismanagement within the club. And it's becoming blaringly obvious how mismanaged a lot of areas in the club are. Yeah, it's not good. Not good at all.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it is an issue. But I think the fact that our reserve grade side is actually going well is a positive. If we were running last in reserve grade and having these injuries, and you go, well, there's no one to replace them. I think at the moment, our reserve grade side and our first grade side are fairly similar level. No, it's the guys that you're bringing in are the same, bog average level as our first graders anyway. So,
yeah, losing both the captains, that's a big loss.
Yeah, well, I hope it's not too long of a break for Toby. We haven't got any indication as to how long he's going to be out for, but I can see some positives because it's not just the shoulder. He's been struggling with the knee injury as well. Maybe a couple of weeks out might help him, get a little bit more mobility with that knee injury as well as shoring up the shoulder. Hopefully, it's not a season ender.
And we're definitely missing Tuapolotu.
Definitely.
And that probably brings us to the next one, Big T. Tyrell Sloan suffering a hyperextended elbow, although he played out the game, didn't look comfortable. Whether he's fit or not, is there a change you'd consider that would see Sloan miss out?
It depends on what he's done to his elbow. He might have done ligament damage. There's no report out yet about it. So,
well, even if he's fit, would you consider leaving him out?
No, I wouldn't consider leaving him out. No, he ran for over 100 metres, made a number of tackles. I didn't write anything down about him, but it was pretty quiet. And he's got to put his body on the line. He's got to catch that fucking ball. No, I wouldn't consider dropping him yet.
He couldn't lift his arm last night, Big T.
I understand. I'm saying if he's injured, we're going to have to replace him. But I wouldn't be. Donny asked me if he's fit, will he play? And I said, I think yes.
Well, if he's not fit, who do you replace him with?
Oh, Jesus. Again, you got to look at Nathan Lawson. You got to look at who else is there? Sony Finau went down the other day, didn't he? So
he went down today. Yeah,
he went down today. So there's another one out. Maybe we've just got to put our hand in the pocket and pull somebody out. I think there we go. We'll use him and put him in. That's the way it's going at the moment with the injuries.
We could always bring back Mika Ravaloa. Oh, hang on, wait.
Oh, he's injured too.
On a scoop.
He's injured anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's
anyway, it's again, Christian Tuapolotu is still 3 or 4 weeks away. I think Benny, you raised that we're missing him big time. We need. For me, I would be considering dropping Sloan. I think without Christian Tuapolotu there, we actually need somebody that's setting a platform. Corey Allen is working hard and trying to do that. Clint Gutherson ran for 200 metres, but it's not really his go. I think Lawson is a guy that he's not he doesn't excite me as much as he does some other fans. Some other fans seem really excited to see Nathan Lawson in. On what I've seen, he's reasonably safe. He is fairly big and strong, so he does set a good platform and works pretty hard and gets some good meters. But he's not quite as dynamic as I thought he would be. He hasn't been a massive try scorer in New South Wales Cup. He hasn't been breaking the line at will and scoring tries for fun. He's okay.
He's only played 9 games.
Yeah, but again, there's a lot of fans that are demanding. Lawson has to be in the side. He should have from round 1.
Agree.
He's not that bloody good. He's not that good. So
one wrap I'll give to Corey Allen.
Sorry,
I was going to say one wrap I'll give to Corey Allen is he's not afraid to put his body on the line. Like that try that he scored, like Sloan wouldn't have scored that. Sloan would have shit a brick and dropped it. And he wouldn't have even put his body in that position. But Corey Allen just went in 100 mile an hour and grabbed that ball and scored it. And he was not afraid to run the ball back for kick returns. And he got in and helped the forwards out, you know. So, yeah, I give him props for that. So, yeah, a couple of errors, obviously. But, yeah, he's definitely doing his job.
Paul Clark says Lawson is a centre. He hasn't played centre in a month, mate. He's been playing New South Wales Cup. They put Nick Sagranis from the second row into the centres because Lawson is not starting as a centre. He is a winger in NRL. He might be a centre in the 15-man game, but he's centre in rugby league seemed to be causing him some problems defensively. So he's moved back out to the wing. I think he's much more effective on the wing. I'd certainly be looking to give him a go as a winger because he does set a good platform and we need that with no Christian Tuipulotu and Tyrell Sloan's not. He doesn't provide that. He's not providing those X factor moments we need him to. He's coming up with errors. He's jamming in defensively when he shouldn't be. So I think there's a lot of issues with Sloan that he's not quite cutting it as an NRL winger. And the gap between his best and his worst is too big. Jesse?
I was just going to say, I've heard some people in the comments on Facebook and other social media pages have compared Lawson to Mark Nawangani Tuasi. I don't know if you could compare them though. Mark Nawangani Tuasi's probably been one of the best wingers in the comp this year, and Nathan Lawson hasn't even played an NRL game yet, so it's hard to compare them.
Again, they came from a similar spot. What's the Storm winger's name?
Warbrick.
Yeah, Will Warbrick came from a very similar position to Lawson in that he was a rugby sevens, whereas Nawangani Tuasi, he was very good in the 15-man side game. He was playing for the Wallabies. Like it's a much bigger pool that he was going up against. He's just a high quality player all around. I still think Nawangani Tuasi is pretty average defensively. I think Nathan Lawson is actually better than him defensively. But in attack, Marky Marks he's just got it going on. So he's pretty hard to handle, very dynamic, and I don't think Lawson's quite got that in his game yet. Paul Clark asked about Cody Ramsey. Cody Ramsey's he's shooting the lights out. He's going really well in reserve grade. Was my man of the match last week. Was in my 3-2-1s again this week. Scored a fantastic try today. He's going fantastically. But with his contract status at the moment, he can't play NRL. He would need to get upgraded. Again, if we get a guy like Tom Eisen, maybe Cody Ramsey can be upgraded. But yeah, he would need to be upgraded to get a go.
So we're going to swap the sloth for Speedy Gonzalez.
All right, Big T. What's the photo?
You're going to get good.
Okay. You know how I do a walk down memory lane every week on the Tuesday show, and everybody sends me photos. You guys have been fantastic. All of you. Hasman, I don't know where your photos are. I'm going to make one up. Benny, if you want to send me a photo via DMs, send me a photo of you when you're a little bloke, and I'll put you up and I'll walk down memory lane. So Donny sent me this one. It's pretty little Donny. Wearing a tutu.
Yeah, you notice I'm crying, not because I'm wearing a tutu, but it's because I'm wearing a Parramatta jersey.
I was going to say that.
Tell us the story, Donny. How old were you and what were you doing?
Yeah, it was, my sister, who's 10 years older than me, so she would have been, 14 or 15 or something. I was about 4 or 5. She was babysitting. She loved Peter Sterling, so she wanted me to be a Parramatta fan. Put me in a Parramatta jersey and a tutu, and obviously I wasn't quite strong enough to resist, and I was quite happy about it.
And you know how I've been playing with the caricatures and putting my caricatures on my friends and that. There's Donny as the caricature.
That's your new profile picture, Donny.
I'll send that to you, Donny, and you can use it for your profile picture. Exactly right.
That's going on the sledging pages about what I think about the Eels.
If we lose to the Eels later, that's your profile pic, Donny.
That'll be all over the Facebook now.
They will now, all the way.
It's out there now. Thank you very much, boys. We'll
Thanks for
wrap it
letting
up
me do that, Don.
Yeah, no, it's been good fun as always. But if 4 losses by a converted try or less is the difference between being 13th and being 4th. It's the difference from being miserable and wanting to sack every player and every coach and being ecstatic and saving up for grand final tickets. We're not missing by much. And my attitude over the last few years is that I can cope with losing if we're giving our talented young players valuable time in the top grade. And I feel like we're doing that. We've got Dylan Egan, Hamish Stewart, Lycan King Togia, Locko Tonga, Toby and Ryan Couchman, although they're both out injured at the moment, but among a few others that are getting time, and there'll be more that will get their opportunity in the top grade as well. It will make them better players in the future and make us a better team in years to come. We aren't winning a comp this year. We're probably not playing finals this year, but I think what we are doing right now will see us as a contender in years to come. So that's the positive message we take from another close loss. So come on, Dragons fans, fire up!
Coco is at Pell's heart, she wears it on her sleeve. As Mustard tells tales of dragons, wins and tuna victory. Donny and the NP crew will do their very best. Getting off topic and I digress with a red bee on our chest. The Mad Dragon podcast is a sheep of camaraderie. Navigating rants down rabbit holes in the land of big wet feet. And so our peddlers weave the tales and our prince is our dream. The Mad Dragon podcast